Welcome back to Cryptowise. My name is Marvin. That is right. My name is Marvin, and I am back. And I am back with vengeance. With great vengeance and furious anger. Just like Bitcoin came back strong today, we've got a lot to talk about. I'm talking altcoins again, my friends. Yeah, you're going to say, what the hell are you talking about, Marvin? Didn't you see the blood on the floor from this morning? Yeah, I sure did. But one thing's for sure. I'm full-time crypto. So I'm looking at everything. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. But I also got some new altcoins I want to talk about today too. Because if you're full-time crypto, if you believe in cryptocurrency, well, one thing's for sure. It ain't going anywhere. So you want to have your fingers on the pulse. And you want to know where the future lies so that whether you're investing in altcoins today, which I'm not today specifically, but if you're investing some money in altcoins today or tomorrow, because there's some amazing buys, you want to know what to buy. Anyways, we're going to talk about altcoins. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about the market as a whole. There's a lot of different narrative going around from influencers in the media in terms of what's happening in the market, the bloodbath that took place, and what's coming up next. A lot of talk about full bear cycle. A lot of talk. Well, you know what? What was super interesting was that the fact that the narrative changed throughout the day. That it changed throughout the day, minute to minute, hour by hour. Started very bearish and started to get more bullish as Bitcoin recovered. And we'll talk about that. But don't you see Bitcoin is one strong mofo. I mean, this thing, when it strikes down upon thee with great anger and fear, well, how does that even go? How does that even go?
And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
I mean, that to me sounds a lot like Bitcoin this morning, Bitcoin yesterday. As a matter of fact, Bitcoin over the past 7 days. That to me sounded like what Bitcoin was saying to us. When it strikes down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger, you need to be ready. You need to be ready, and you need to know what to do in a bear cycle or a bearish week or a bear day like this morning was. But the good news is, there is some good news and there is some light here, that Bitcoin is back up currently at $32,730, give or take. And if it closes over 32, well, a lot of TAs say if it closes over 32, that's really good news, and we're not potentially not entered a bear yet. Although a lot of TAs are saying, oh, we're in a bear because we dropped all the way down. For those of you just tuning in to what the hell's going on in crypto, we dropped down today under 29,000. It appears here around 28,787. And then it just jumped right back up. Now, I don't recommend, there's a lot of ways to make money in crypto, okay? There's a lot of ways. And I'm not going to recommend futures trading for any of you, especially leveraged trading. That said, I do it from time to time. You guys know, some of my wise guys know I took a big hit a little while back. I've made some of it back. You know what? Today was a good day in the sense that when I saw this come down about 29, I decided to just long the market. I longed a few different coins, primarily KSM, DOT, Bitcoin, and ADA, and I was able to get my profits out over 32, around 32.4, and so that was really, really good. Now, I don't recommend to anybody to do any leverage type trading. But, you know, bearish or bullish, there are ways to make money into cryptocurrency. That is not the way that I recommend. I recommend you look at projects that you really like, projects that you believe in, projects you've done your research in and you're in for the long term. You believe they're going to be big long term. Those are the projects that you want to invest money into, real money, and hold on tight. Because you can get through a bear cycle in those just fine. Anyways, if you haven't already, please do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. Click on that subscribe button and click on that little bell. That bell's going to get you real-time updates. If you don't, follow us on Twitter at Cryptowise Daily. That's right, Cryptowise Daily. Our Twitter is back, and Milton has been doing a great job. And of course, on Telegram, guys, we're 24/7. We got a 24/7 Telegram group at Cryptowise Official. You're going to want to join our Telegram group. I highly recommend it, especially during times like this. Now, I know I've been away, guys. I know I've been away. I did tell you I am going to be talking about some altcoins later in this video, but I do want to talk a lot about the narrative that's going on. And we are getting some recovery right now, which is interesting. But the narrative has been super bearish for the most part, but I found today super interesting because today, as I said, today's going to go down in history for the year and maybe forever in terms of Bitcoin. And there's a lot of different narratives, especially from the media, and I can't blame them. I mean, look, they wake up in the morning and they see what's happening. Why wouldn't you report on it? Bitcoin turns positive on a day, wild session where it briefly dropped below 30,000, and that's right. It was extremely brief. Let's take a look.
Bitcoin and crypto in general plunging again this morning, now threatening Bitcoin at least to break under 30,000 and already below some of the recent lows that we've seen. All this sparked by news of an escalating crackdown on digital currencies in China. Joining us now with his take on Bitcoin's fall and where it perhaps finds some support. Mike Novogratz, Galaxy Digital founder and CEO. Mike, you initially thought 40 might hold. 40 did not hold. We're now at 30, and while we're talking with you right now, we may see a print with a 2 handle. There it is, 29,824. Where do you think the near-term and intermediate-term low will end up being?
Can you see the sweat coming off his bald head here?
On your part.
Yeah, listen, so we had China, right, really be much more forceful in their idea to ban cryptocurrency. That's created a retail deleveraging, a run on the bank, if you would, with retail accounts, right? A lot of crypto happens in Asia. A lot is Chinese focused. And so we're seeing big liquidations. It's always hard to call a bottom. 30,000, we'll see if it holds on the day. We might plunge below it for a while and close above it. If it's really breached, 25,000 is the next big level of support. Listen, I'm less happy than I was when we were at 60,000, but I'm not nervous. We continue to see talent come into this space. I was talking to some of the big pension funds in America who are getting close to making their first investments in Bitcoin. And so I think we're going to see really a shift away from Asia to more to the developed world. You know, Xi is about authoritarianism, and it seems every month he wants more control over his country.
I got to stop it there because he's right. He's right, and I'm sorry. You know what? I'm kind of going bald too, so I apologize for the sweaty comment. But I meant what's happening is he's watching the ticker as he's doing the show, and around that time this morning, Bitcoin was tumbling all the way under 29,000. So that must have been a stressful interview. But at the same time, he's not worried because the narrative here and what's being talked about a lot is the FUD around China. And it's not necessarily FUD. I mean, they're cracking down on Bitcoin in terms of the ban. They're shutting down mining facilities. It's no joke. They really are. But here's the good news. The good news is that the China FUD has haunted us for years over years over years. And if you look at the last cycles back in 17 and 18, the same thing happened, right? The same thing happened. The China FUD, China's banning, China's cracking down. So here's what's happening now. A lot of these major mining companies set up in China are moving elsewhere. A lot of the market that sits in China, a lot of these people, a lot of these businesses are moving out of China at exponential rates. Well, what does that do for Bitcoin and crypto in the long run? Well, it sets a foundation where they go to what I call green territories, territories that want cryptocurrencies, embrace those companies and those mining facilities. At the same time, the hope is that a lot of these mining facilities in China that were mining Bitcoin on on dirty energy will hopefully make a shift into renewable energies in other places of the world where there's strong subsidy programs to do so, and ways to incentivize them to do so. And that could really set the foundation for some strong times ahead in Bitcoin. But moving into sort of a lot of the influencers, I found it really interesting because the narrative shifted from the morning to the afternoon today. Here, of course, is Bitboy Crypto talking about his outlook. Now, at the beginning of his show, first of all, it is titled, I just bought 10 Bitcoin. Best BTC buying opportunity of 2021 is the clickbait title. Now, truth be told, I also bought some Bitcoin today at 29.5 and 31. So I'm not against you there, Bitboy. I'm not against you at all. But let's see what he's saying from his TA analysis. And for the record, he does have a full-time TA guy, which is interesting because we are searching at Cryptowise for a full-time TA. If you are one and would like to work with the Cryptowise team, please do us a favor and reach out to us on Telegram or shoot us an email at hodl@cryptowise.com.
The longer time frames, look at this. Let's look at the weekly chart. God, this weekly chart's brutal. So brutal. So basically, here's where we're at, okay? According to the charts, this thing is over. Like, this thing's over according to the charts. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is a downtrend. We've been wiped out. You know, we've wiped out all of the gains now since January. They're gone. They're all gone. So it's very easy to see we're well under the EMA ribbon right now. We started getting back up in it a little bit. According to the charts, it's over. We should not be seeing new all-time highs for Bitcoin for years at this point, according to the charts. But what I would say is I'm still, like I said, here's your only hope. Here's literally your only hope. Your only hope is that this really is just straight up manipulation. And I told you guys, middle of July, that's what I'm being told. If by the end of July we're not going up, then there is no hope. I mean, we're going to, I believe into probably a multi-year bear market. We're going into the regular cycle. Now, TJ says he doesn't think, he says he thinks cycles are over at this point.
No, I was saying basically we will still be on kind of what is like the 2013 cycle where we have a bear market and then, you know, a mini bear market in the middle of the bull market. And if that doesn't happen by like maybe middle of August, end of August, like if we're still going through this August, September, October, November, because I think last time it was about 5 months, then I think we will be in uncharted territory and kind of Bitcoin doing things it's never done before, and we could see, you know, who knows what in 2022.
So I just really believe that I don't believe the Bitcoin cycles are going away at all.
And I have to agree with you there, Bitboy. I have to agree with you, and thank you very much. I mean, if you guys don't already, you know, happily subscribe to Bitboy Crypto, one of the largest YouTube channels in all of the interwebs, according to Bitboy. You know, good and bad stuff that, well, not good and bad. You know, I take different things from all the different influencers and I filter it out. But anyways, one thing I do agree with is that I don't think that this is the end for Bitcoin in this cycle at all. I do agree that the TA analysis is very choppy at the moment. I actually think we're in uncharted waters right now already. I think we're already there. Any TA will tell you that none of this makes any sense. Now, here is a show that I highly recommend that you subscribe to if you don't already. Now, it's called Crypto Banter, and these guys are awesome. And he goes on today to talk more about the China FUD. And I just want to play a quick clip here. But I loved today's show, and his narrative is dead on, and I want to talk about it a little bit.
As I said to you, what we need to do is we need to understand why this market's coming down. Why is there so much negativity? Well, the main thing that you need to know is that in bear markets, good news does not move markets. People rely on bad news. The narrative becomes all about bad news, and bad news feeds the market. So now it's a case of any kind of bad news would feed the market. I mean, it started off with this ESG FUD, and we kind of know that it's FUD because Bitcoin is a very renewable industry. Mining may not be as efficient as it can be, but it is becoming much more efficient as time goes on, right? So what you need to understand is that the retail investor is listening to the narrative of the media. And the media is coming out with anything that they can now because they have to explain why the prices are going down. I mean, if you're a journalist and you wake up this morning and this is what you see. So the first thing that you see when you wake up is this. What are you going to do? You're going to write a good news article. You're going to say, hey, Bitcoin is being adopted in 100 nations around the world. You're not going to do that. You're going to try and find the reason why the Bitcoin price is going down, right? That's what you do. I know this. I mean, I worked with CNBC for a long time, and I kind of saw what the working process was. You look at the market and you say, okay, well, what's feeding this market? And then let me write a story about what's feeding this market, right? Exactly. That is exactly what's going on here. And right now, the narrative first was ESG. The narrative right now is China FUD. Okay, I want to show you this. Let's have a look at this. So if you open the papers today or the internet today, China bans financial companies from Bitcoin transactions. China bans banks from handling Bitcoin trade. Here's why Bitcoin dropped over the weekend. Bitcoin price falls again on reports of China is shutting down local exchanges. Let's look at another one. China renewed crypto crackdown, wipes off 400 billion.
Anyways, I think you get the point that he's trying to make there. I really like this episode because later in the episode, I'm not sure exactly what you have to do. He goes on about what you actually should do.
Throughout
and
this
it's actually really, really funny because
projects,
he goes on to talk about consolidating, number one, into the good projects, which, by the way, is the way to do it. When you have a week or days like today or a month like the last month, I mean, look at this. You really got to think about a lot of the altcoins that you're in and a lot of the projects that you're in. And it's time to really start thinking about consolidating into the ones that you think might last a bear cycle, if in fact we're headed into a bear. And if we are, I think the bear is probably only going to be a month or two. I actually think that by mid-July, we're going to see some really bullish things happening in July. But we might end back into some bear cycles in between. And so And it's very possible we go into a longer term bear. It's possible. I don't think it's going to be the same as the last bear cycle at all. But anyways, what you need to do, what I recommend, what I do is in these types of times, I'm consolidating into the projects that I truly believe in, the projects that I believe are going to withstand any bear cycle and are going to survive all the way through. Teams that are going to stick around. Because what happens is a lot of these altcoins, I'm sorry, but the teams disappear. Team members fall out, funding lapses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And unlike companies that are highly regulated for compliance from investors, generally accredited, they don't have the same sort of regulatory frameworks, and they can start a project and peace out, right? So it's a lot different in that respect. Now, his idea here is very simple. For you to ride a bear cycle, he suggests going to careers.mcdonalds.com. And I thought this was hilarious, but I also thought it was brilliant. Why is he saying this? Well, basically what he's saying is if you've done what you need to do during any bearish trend, which is consolidate into all of the projects you're most bullish on long term, not today, not tomorrow, who cares what the price is today or tomorrow, but long term, and allow yourself to average into these, continue to buy more during these bearish times, into those projects that you truly believe long-term have the fundamentals to survive a bear cycle. If you can average your position in and you can just survive the bear, he's saying, look, focus on your day job. If you don't have one, get one. That's how you survive a bear, and invest some of that money back into those projects that you're most bullish on. Of course, a lot of us live off of our crypto investments, right? Some of us have day jobs. I mean, I'm full-time crypto, but I also have other companies. And so I have the luxury I'm very grateful for multiple sources of revenue. But at the same time, I've lived through a bear where I didn't necessarily have those luxuries. And what did I do? Well, I went out and generated more revenue outside of crypto to give me the ability to not only pay my bills, pay my mortgage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, live my lifestyle that I like to live. Also gave me the opportunity to continue buying bags and averaging down into the positions and the projects that I wanted. So when the bulls do come around, we're way up and we're taking profits along the way. Anyways, if you don't already, I highly recommend Crypto Banter, one of my favorite shows. I know it's Milton's favorite, I believe. I won't speak for him, but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic show. Now, here's another good guy, that Martini guy, and he had some TA analysis today, which I found interesting. And this is what's funny. He's in the UK, so when all this was happening, if you look at the right-hand side of the screen here, Bitcoin was still at 31.5. This was before it crashed down.
Anyway, right, so Bitcoin's price,
Under
I'm going to
30,
be fairly
right?
deflated
Under
on
29.
today's stream. Somebody saying in the chat, buy Matic. To be honest, buying anything right now. If you just, like, it depends on how well you're able to cope with fear. You've got to look at this from a statistical point of view. Bitcoin has not had this many down days in a row since 2018. So if we've not had 7 down days in a row since 2018, today is day 7. Today is day 8, actually. So if we close today above $32,000, we're all good. But if we don't close today above $32,000, today will be day 8. So that means you'll probably predict an extended bear market. What I'm kind of expecting to happen here is a quick run to the downside towards $31,000, possibly even as low as $30,000.
Yeah.
And then,
well, it actually went a
probably
bit
break
lower
back to the
there,
upside.
Mr. Martini. But you did call it pretty well because it did come down. As we continue in his show, we're watching it. Let's fast forward couple hours. Where is he at? Here we go, 29.8. And his charts are changing. The TA analysis are changing. We can see some more sweat coming. We're at 29. Sorry, let's go back a bit here. Just want to see the reaction at 20. What's he at? 29.8. Yeah. 29.8. I love it. 29.5. And then as you come in, he sees the light. He sees the light because he's a smart guy, Mr. Martini. I like him. He does a good TA, by the way. He's got a good show. 29.2 you're seeing on the right-hand side there. So it's dipping. I mean, look at his expression on his face. That was mine this morning, too. Bit nervous. Little scratch of the head for Mr. Martini guy.
By the way, if you're just joining the stream
Let's see.
right now, you wouldn't
I mean, I'd be there. We go. Scratch the head. But then later in the show, we're back up. Look at that. I mean, this was around the time too at 29 that I started putting in some moves. He was making some moves. I was making some moves. Hopefully, you were making some moves. And the market started pumping. I mean, it started coming back. And coming back solid.
Track of it, my phone's dead.
Yeah, like amazing. Look at the charts here.
That's ebrious.
Look at that. 32. Look at the smiles. Look at the smiles. Anyways, that's the beauty of crypto. I mean, that's the crazy love for crypto right there. That big smile on the Martini guy. If you don't follow him, I highly recommend you add him to your subs list. Now, here's some interesting guys. Kyle Chasse, CEO and founder of Paid Network, among some other projects. I find him interesting to watch. He's got some cool things. He's also got a show he's doing on Saturdays you might want to check out. But he's got Coach Crypto, who gives a very bearish analysis. He's to the point, and to be frank, from a TA perspective, he's pretty well on. Although I think the problem is that the TA analysis, they're just not adding up today, tomorrow, yesterday, and we're in uncharted territory. So from a TA perspective, I just don't think that it makes a lot of sense, and I don't think anyone's got a crystal ball. But I do want you to hear a bit of what he's saying, because in terms of technical analysis, he's right. We've got some big gaps, and things could fall pretty quick.
Okay, yeah.
So let's see what he's
and
talking
I'll kind
about.
of just give a rundown on what's happening here, because what's really happening is, we had the head and shoulders that happened here. It was very, a lot of people didn't really notice it or didn't want to, but you had the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. So that's what I was seeing when I was saying, hey, it looks like it's going to come up and then come back to 42. So that's the levels that people were talking about. Why? Well, I put my Ichimoku on and I see that the cloud is telling me here. Let me just move it out of the way. The cloud was telling me that we break into this cloud, we're going to go to the bottom of the cloud. If we break below the cloud, we're going to continue going lower, and that's what's happened. And I mean, the hopium is that we could go further and this would flatten out, but it did, and now it's coming back down. So I don't think we're done. And to give you just a really simple, without any of the indicators on here, I'll just show you quickly what's likely to happen, and so what you should be prepared for. Sorry, let me just do that. So here's what we have to look at, okay? Very simply, here is our chart. We've never been above 20K before, so this is our only level of support here. And basically, once we lose this level right down here, there's nothing stopping us. There's no real support. So it's just going to fall, free fall, like super quick, as we know, and Bitcoin always does. It'll do one of these waterfalls, fall all the way down to here. If this level doesn't hold, well, we're shorting it down to there. We're going to keep our short open, and we'll go all the way down to 17.8, which is the only little bit of, kind of support that we have. And it's sort of an area that was a spring ish. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is we're in a really, really not a good spot for Bitcoin. We are not. And if we're living in reality here, we wait for this close. We enter at 30,000 tomorrow when it retests, and we short it all the way down. We'll make money on the way down. There's ways to make money in the market on the way down too, same way as the way up. If you think the market's going down, you can open it short. If you don't know what a short is, I think myself and Kyle and other people have done videos on how do you open a short. Don't use leverage. Just use 1x. Just learn how to do it where you think it's going to go down. You can use a 1x short, and it's the same as opening a long. Don't use leverage, please, okay? But this is how you would do it. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to short this the second that we retest 30K tomorrow, which is about 12.
Now, interestingly, when he was talking about this, you can see Bitcoin was at 29 cents. It was headed down.
I mean, it sucks to be
so he's freaking out a bit.
And everyone doesn't want to hear it.
But he's right.
But
People don't want to hear
telling you the truth.
We don't want to hear
a lot of people want to keep you all in the moon boy land. And, I agree. I tell people that as it is. And unfortunately, that's what the reality is we're likely to come lower. Will this be the end of the Bitcoin? No.
Well, look,
that's my over.
That's his overview. I think he makes some valid points. He makes some very valid points in terms of some major gaps. And if we keep in that downtrend and we break some of those lines, we're headed down. But right now, Bitcoin is doing something else compared to where his video was hours ago. We're almost at 33,000. We did hit 33. There's been resistance. We're back down 32.8. Much different than the 29.5 when he was talking about in that video. So anyways, the narrative is kind of really interesting. Today I found, hopefully this is helpful for you, summarizing some of the top guys in one day, because I found it super interesting listening to them all as it's coming down and then as it's back up, and the difference in narrative throughout the day. I found it very, very interesting because in my opinion, guys, there's still a lot that can happen. Now, I don't 100% stick to TA analysis. I think for day traders, guys in futures, etc., it's really important. I stick to the fundamentals. The fundamentals for me, which have made me successful in cryptocurrency, are finding projects that I really believe in, that have a solid team, that are solving big issues, scalable solutions, and investing in them and holding on to those assets. That's how I've always made the most money in cryptocurrency. And for me, I've been buying down on Bitcoin. Guys, we talked about it a month ago after the first dip. We were buying at 45, at 48, at 42, at 38. Buying again at 31, buying again at 29. Probably going to buy again tomorrow, depending on what happens. I'm interested to see what Asia brings in a few hours here. But really, really interesting stuff. Am I scared? I'm not scared. Do I get nervous? I'm human. So I don't, listen, it's okay to have fear and be scared. One way you're never going to make money in crypto is FOMOing in and FOMOing out. So if you're buying in and buying out constantly, you're in the wrong game. My opinion. This is not financial advice. Nothing you've heard today is financial advice from myself or any of the clips that I've played. Just solely our opinions on what's going on. And so take it for what it is. But I've never made money buying in and buying out. I've never seen anyone do well buying in and buying out. I've never seen, it's very difficult to make money in leverage trading if you're taking leverage or high leverage. I've seen guys do really well. I've seen guys literally lose the bank. and file for divorce, et cetera, et cetera. So be very, very cautious and be very, very careful. The next few minutes, the next few hours, the next few days, and potentially months will be extremely interesting for Bitcoin and for the rest of the cryptocurrency space. I'm going to keep a very close eye. And like I said, we do want to bring on more technical analysis on this show. We're hunting and searching for some great TA guys. If you are one and you want to talk to us, please reach out to us. I've been away. You know, Milton's been calling me. He's been messaging me. He's been saying, Marv, what the bleep is going on? What the hell is going on? We need you back. Your peeps want you back. So I am back. And there's a lot happening that I want to continue to talk about. Now, I've kept you guys a long time, so I'm probably not going to get into too many projects here. But I did tell you earlier in this video that I want to talk about some altcoins. Now, I've also told you that the majority of the moves that I'm making have been consolidation for safety purposes for potential longer-term bear than expected, if we are, in fact, in some bear cycle. I know it's a bear cycle for sure. Is it a bear market? I'm not sure. But part of that is consolidating out of the higher risk projects. I've reduced my portfolio of high risk projects from about 20% of my portfolio down to about 6% of my portfolio. And I've done that for a number of reasons why I think entry points into a lot of the smaller projects will remain there for a little bit longer. But don't forget, when things move, they move quick. And so I've got my hit list. And part of what we do is constant research on some of the best projects, some of the sleeper cells that I want to add to my list for when things do start to get bullish again and attention comes back to alts. I want to make sure to pick up my bags. And this was a project that came through a bunch of research and came onto our desks. The site is called SATA Technology. The actual name of the project is SATA, so their token is SATA. And so interestingly enough, these guys have some interesting things going on. I got to be honest. When I see a project that has a lot of potential, I want to bring it to your attention. So full disclosure, I don't own any of it yet. I'll look at the tokenomics a bit shortly after this. But I'm adding it to my BIDAR list. Now, the future of privacy and identity, Signata SATA and the Identity Guard and anonymity framework, access and authorization on the blockchain, hardware key protection, using Signata to store and manage cryptocurrency keys with affordable hardware devices, decentralized identity, authenticate and authorize access to services privately and securely, anonymous payments, authenticate and pay for services without giving up your personal information. You guys know, I think this market's a really big market. There are other players in it, but these guys seem to be doing something a little bit different, and they might just be one of the sleeper cells that does really, really well on my BIDAR list, okay? The future identity and access market, simplified access control. Now, here's some interesting things that I've learned so far about SATA. It's an Ethereum-based identity project, right? They had a stealth launch back in March 2021, earlier this year, I believe. They're building a privacy-focused replacement for login with Google, logging in with crypto keys instead. And so I find that really, really interesting, and I think there's a big use case for it. Founded back in 2017. So these guys have actually been around for a while. I actually like this too. In terms of their roadmap, they gave access to Trello. That's kind of cool. So we can see their roadmap is public. As they get through certain items on their roadmap, they're marking them down and they're making notes, which is available for the public. Also, of course, the team is public and doxed, so that's important. And in terms of tokenomics, I'll talk about that a bit. But they were founded back in 2017 in Australia. So these guys have been working for quite some time. And they've got close to a decade of industry experience building identity and access systems for government and both private sector. And they announced their third-party partnership. And this is how we came to learn about them, because you guys know we're very bullish on Chainlink. Signata will leverage Chainlink oracles to power its on-chain identity management system. And so we're proud to announce the upcoming Signata integration with market-leading decentralized Oracle Network Chainlink. This integration will build the necessary linkage between blockchain identity management systems and the off-chain identification of risk for real-world applications. SATA. They've also talked about utilizing NFTs for their products, more than just collectibles or artwork. This might be one of the first tokens using NFTs as a real utility, potentially. I don't know. There are other tokens, I think, that are already doing that, but it's a cool concept. Look, the project's new. I find it extremely promising. Obviously, in current market conditions, it's going to have a rough time. It's a small project with small volume. Low volume, I should say, 24-hour volume at 33,000. Their all-time high, I believe, was around 60 cents. Yep. And it's currently trading just under 10 cents. But look, in terms of an interesting new project, newish project, under the radar project, this is their Twitter, which I was doing some of my research on. These are the types of projects that, listen, I'm putting on my BIDAR list. And so as I watch market conditions, as things start to get more bullish and we start to get more consumer or confidence into the market, I'm going to go back to my altcoin list, and these are the projects I'm going to bring back up. So I wanted to bring it to your attention right away, because as we do research into some of these new projects, I want to bring them to your attention, regardless of how many of you are interested in learning about new projects, by the way, because a lot of you are just like, screw everything. Just tell me about Bitcoin. Where's Bitcoin? What's the next move on Bitcoin? And don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm there too. I'm also watching BTC in the market like a hawk. You can see my trading view. I've got a lot of different of my larger projects that I'm invested in taken away over here, and I'm keeping an eye on them. But I'll tell you what, man. A lot of the money that we've made in crypto is in altcoins, and it's finding those hidden gems, okay? It's finding them before the rest of the masses do and before the huge upside comes. And so, yes, we've had some upside in this project. It obviously had some traction, but it's come back down. It's around 9 cents, just under 10 cents right now. Volume's quite low, so I'm not saying FOMO in. This is not financial advice, but I am adding it to my BIDAR, and it's a project we're going to keep an eye on and potentially follow up with in the very near future. But, guys, it's been an amazing time. I am extremely excited to be back with you guys on this channel. I took a bit of a break, a bit of a vacation. Not so much a vacation in the sense that I disconnected, because I've been fully connected. I've been watching your chats and Telegram. I've been watching all of Milty's great videos that he's been publishing, and there have been some great ones. Look at his last one on on-chain metrics. And he did a great video on Pokedex, my beloved Pokedex. We had a little bet going, PokeSwap versus Pokedex. Well, good old Milt. He did a video on both, so I recommend you checking those out. But I am back, so expect a bunch of new content coming from me. I think we've got some live shows coming back onto the schedule. We've got some fantastic interviews with CEOs of a lot of projects coming onto the schedule. And let me know what you think in the comments below about today's episode and the idea of consolidating sort of the market narrative of the day from influencers and media into one video that you can watch, because that kind of turns, instead of having to watch 7 hours of media, you can just watch me, Marv, and within 40 minutes, you're all up to date. So listen, I think that's really cool. Obviously, I think we can perfect the style of these kind of highlight videos. But all in all, guys, I'm so happy to be back. I missed you all very, very much. Please do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. And as always, my friends, we love you. We love you. We love you. Stay tuned. We've got more videos coming day by day. Thank you all so much. We'll see you soon.